Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got another review for you. We're looking at the Ryobi RY803265. It's a new pressure washer, gas powered, 3200 PSI, and it does 2.3 gallons per minute. Right off the bat, what I like about this one, this package includes the surface cleaner, 15-inch surface cleaner, and it also includes the 5-in-1 nozzle, so you don't have to carry 2 or 3 nozzles around. So let's unbox this and see what we've got. This is a pretty great machine. As I mentioned, it's a 3200 PSI model, 2.3 gallons per minute. Again, it has the 5-in-1 quick change nozzle and the surface cleaner. Another great thing is this one's gonna come with a 35-foot hose. Most of the Ryobi ones come with a 25-foot hose. And having had one of these in the past and having to buy an extension, I can tell you that extra 10 feet is going to make a world of difference for you. It also includes your first bottle of engine lubricant, the engine oil, which is a nice touch. This one's going to be powered by the Kohler RH265, almost 200 cc engine. It's 196 cc's. I'm gonna get this all set up today while it's cold and raining, and then hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit nicer and get out and test it outside. All right, so after about 7 minutes of setup time, this is what you're gonna have. The handle's actually pretty long. It's definitely longer than the ones you'll get on one of their electric models, and it has grooves here so that it'll sit right in place. Haven't put the oil or gas in yet, but you got your oil down here, you got your gas up here, and everything is pretty straightforward connections. You've got one for your hose and then one for your garden hose for your water supply here. Can't mix them up because they're different threads. And then this is going to be your soap feed once you get it up and running. Because you have this on board as well for soap. Another thing I like as I'm seeing this is my previous one, I had a Ryobi that was electric, and the soap dispenser in the front were just notches that this sat on. So when I was rolling it around, it would bounce off a lot. This is screwed into place, which is nice. The other thing I like over my previous model was the other one had a reel here that in theory would roll the hose up, but it was more trouble than it was ever worth. It wound up being a waste of space, and it actually kept me from storing this. This one's just got a bungee strap, and you can put as much or as little of the hose in there as you need to. And it looks like, yeah, that's going to be replaceable. So when the bungee wears out, you can go ahead and just pop a new one on, and this will not only last you longer, but it'll be a lot more functional than one that has a reel on it. So to point out a couple of things that this surface cleaner does, for one, this is rated for a gas machine. This is a 15-inch, rated to 2500 to 3300 PSI. They do make a separate one for the electric. So if you're looking at this and you have an electric and this kind of interests you, do not get this one. Get the smaller one that's rated up to, I think, maybe 2000 PSI, and it is specifically for electric. I think it's a 13-inch. So, quick release top. They also give you this very tiny piece of metal here that's gonna just allow you to clean out the nozzles underneath. The way this works is the pressure just drives it. You've got these on the side that'll keep you above the surface as you move it, and as this spins and you move it along the ground, what it's going to do is give you a full swath, a 15-inch wide path that'll allow you to clean a lot more effectively, efficiently, and if you've ever tried to use a high pressure washer, you wind up with streaks a lot. This should keep the streaks from happening. And in the past with an electric one, I've used this to clean even cars, just holding them an inch or so off and allowing it to spin just to get that first coat of dirt off. So The nozzle that it comes with, as I mentioned, instead of giving you a 20 degree and a 50 degree or a 25 and 40, this gives you a universal and a 5-in-1. So you've got a 0 degree, which is a straight spray. You've got a 25 and a 40 degree. And then you've got soap with a jet and soap with a fan. This should just give you a little wave to it as the soap comes out. Be careful with this 0 degree and even the 25 for that matter. You for sure wouldn't want to put a 0 degree on, you know, say your paint surface of a car, because you could, especially if it's on the way to being damaged or slightly damaged, you could lose that paint. That is quite a bit of pressure. Again, the nice thing, you don't have to keep switching nozzles every time you want to change applications, and you don't have to lose any or look for any while you're wanting to switch applications. All right, it's warmed up. It's a couple days later, and I'm gonna get the oil in it, get the gas in it, and get it ready to go. And this is where this model gets a little bit of a ding. It's not a huge deal, but see if you can follow my logic, and you may agree, you may not. So on the plus side, it comes with your oil. It's a 14-ounce container, and it comes with this paper little dipstick, which I'm gonna just go ahead and say is useless, because you got to get in here and hold that just barely. It'll do the job, but it's not sturdy. If you're like me or most people, if you're going to invest in this kind of machine, you're probably going to be doing maintenance, which means this is a one and done. You're supposed to change the oil after the first 5 hours. So right off the bat, you're going to need another funnel anyway. So that's going in the garbage. I picked up a pair of these for like $2. That's going to give me a much better access to that. The other thing with this engine, this happens to have the Kohler engine. Check your model to see if it's different, but the capacity of this is about 600 milliliters, and the oil that it comes with is 414 milliliters. So I got a little nervous because the instruction said pour all but 2 ounces in and then check the oil again. So I went ahead and checked. It does come with some oil, so there's a note there. But the other thing is, it gives you this container which doesn't have any markings on it. So you're kind of at a guessing game to say what is all but 2 ounces of this. So you're gonna have to eyeball it. You're gonna have to check it a couple times and make sure you're doing right. So the marks I have against this at the price point is go ahead and throw $1 funnel in there. Go ahead and spend another couple of pennies on a container that has a marking on it, or you know, find a supplier with 12 ounces. If that's really all it needs is 12, I appreciate having the extra 2, but in this case I'm gonna have to guess anyway. So give me the markings. That'd be a nice touch. So let's get it oiled up, gassed up, ready to go. Another gripe I've got with it is the placement of the oil filler. Two things. One, make sure you do this on level ground. You saw that I'm tipping it up a little bit. That's because I'm on a downslope driveway right now. The gripe I have is that the oil filler is, for my hands, close to that back wheel there, and so it's a bit of a pain to get that re-threaded. Not a big deal, but you know, not really sure what else they could do about it, but it's annoying. Get yourself one of these. These gas cans for small engines are just the best. When you tip it, nothing will come out until you push this, similar to like a drink dispenser. so you can be in full control. You're never going to overflow the tank. I'll put a link to where you can find this gas can in the description. So as for starting it, you've got a choke, start, run, and then stop. So it's one lever for all three. This is the first time firing it up. Let's see how long it takes. Also, don't forget to turn the fuel line on. Okay, I didn't quite push it far enough to stop, but choke, run, stop, seems pretty straightforward. All right, let's take it around back and see how she does. Alright, so this is going to be a little tricky, but I wanted to show you the difference on the deck. So I started back here with the 40-degree spray, and down here I used the 25, and then down here obviously I used the disc. It's a little tricky on an uneven and not complete surface, but you can see, so the issue you have with any pressure washer when you use the high pressure spray is these lines, the stop and start lines. You can't keep the wand perfectly straight across there. So obviously this one has a line where I stop and I start. I mean, but good golly, you can tell I had no idea it was this dirty. Up here is a little bit better. It still has some lines. If you heard the machine, there's air in the lines. I probably should have run a little more water through. So I did the front half. This is just with water. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spray, use the soap dispenser. This is the soap I'm going to use. I think it ran $10. Obviously, this is from my old pressure washer. I haven't actually ever used it on the wood before. As you can clearly tell, this has never been cleaned. I've used it on concrete and driveways, and it seems to work well. It says ideal for outdoor patio furniture, decks, vehicles, patios, and siding. So just as a heads up, this is the brand new head that I got. It'll scuff pretty easy on the concrete, well, yeah, concrete or asphalt in my case. I set it down for a little bit and it wore off. A little bit of the paint picked up, yeah, scratches off. Doesn't affect it at all, but just to know. So when I soap this, you've got soap jet or soap fan. I'll show you what those look like, but either one works. It's just a low pressure spray. Soap jet. And then soap fan. So the directions say apply the soap, let it sit 5 minutes, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, it's been about 7 minutes. Let's see if it's any better. Looks like it's a little better actually with the soap. Not too much though. I was expecting a bigger difference. The machine does pretty well by itself. It also might be how much mildew and algae and everything I had sitting here. It may make more of a difference on a lighter coat, but there may have just been too much for the soap to take out in the back there, because like I said, it's pretty bad. So the other thing I got going on here is my fence. While I love the look of the shadow box style, I have not ever cleaned it because it's shadow box style. So I'm gonna give this a try, see if I can just run it along it and clean it up a little bit. It won't be perfect. I'm not gonna seal it or anything. It's just weathered cedar, but I want to see how it looks. So let's give that a try. Well, it's definitely not the cleanest, but for as quick as that was, real time, maybe a minute, yeah, you can't beat that. It's messy, but I think I'd rather get a little bit wet and have it done in 1/10 the time than be out here 10 times longer. Let me see if I can show you why a 35-foot hose coming with this is a big deal over a 25-foot hose coming with this. So basically, without moving the machine, I can do this entire side of the house, which probably means it's about 70 feet. Now do you get why I hate shadow box fence? I ran out of gas with one section to go. So obviously it hasn't dried yet, but a pretty remarkable difference from what it was. So I started out with the 15-inch surface cleaner, and the reason I switched was it was doing actually a pretty good job, but again, this shadow box, I don't know if I can, because of the style of the fence, oops, there's just so many cracks and crevices that I was gonna have to come back and go over it anyway, because I just couldn't leave it even how it is now. I'm gonna have to go to the other side to get rid of that, and that's just because of the fence design. Get down here where some of the sections are dried now. Again, so it's just like I said, a night and day difference between the gray that it was and all the dirt and everything versus what it looks like now. It's just another look at that. So start, run, and then stop, and then you can turn the fuel line off there. For the soap, again, just goes in there, and you don't have to dilute it. It's a self, actually, yeah, it says right there, automatic soap dilution 20:1. So as long as you're using pressure washer detergent, it'll dilute for you. So let's talk about my overall thoughts on this Ryobi gas pressure washer. I like it, kind of a lot. So I mentioned that I had an electric powered one in the past, and at 2000 PSI, it probably did most of what I needed well enough. But in the words of Tim the Toolman Taylor, who doesn't love a little more power, right? So this is definitely a heavy duty machine, but it isn't overwhelming in any way. So if you're a homeowner and you've used a lawnmower, you can handle this with, relative ease. The only cons I have with this are what I mentioned. The paper funnel and the non-marked oil bottle are both annoying, but they're far from deal breakers. As for the pros, that list is longer and much more meaningful. You get the 5-in-1 nozzle, which runs $30. You get the 35-foot hose, which runs $40. And you get the 15-inch surface cleaner, which runs $70. So right there, you're at $140 before you even get to what's really one of the most powerful, quote unquote, consumer pressure washers on the market. So if you're looking at this and wondering if it's for you, the last thing I'll mention is, pressure is kind of like speed or horsepower on a car. You may not always use it all, but when you need it, it's really nice to know it's there.